Now, yesterday, we were off because the Met game was on from spring training. And that's the way it works. 880 is the home of the New York Mets. So when they do a spring training game, it's usually at 1 o'clock. That's when my show is on, and that's when we get preempted. But I want you to rest assured, everybody, because this is what I'm here for you. I didn't just take the day off. No. I was doing work, making phone calls, getting baseball people on the phone. So I said, this hour, we're going to cover the Yankees and we're going to cover the Mets. That's why we have Heyman on at 1:30 because he's been all over Port St. Lucie for the New York Post. And I made some phone calls yesterday regarding what scouts are seeing in Tampa for Yankee spring training. And I got some interesting things that these people told me. Let's start with George Lombard Jr. So everybody's dreaming big right now because Lombard looks really, really good. Now, he's 19 years old. He's a first-round draft pick for the Yankees. He has DNA in the major leagues. His dad is a bench coach. It was a 6-year major leaguer for the he's a bench coach for the Tigers, but he was a 6-year major leaguer, kind of bounced around. So the kid's been around baseball, and he looks stronger than he did last year. He's hit a couple of home runs. According to a couple of scouts that I spoke to, he's a plus defender. Right now, today, on March 5th, he could play Major League shortstop. That's how good he is. Right now, today, he could play Major League second base. And right now, today, he could play Major League third base. Not just serviceably, but at a high plus defensive level. That's how good he is. Great feet, great range, really good arm. One scout told me he is the equal defensively to Anthony Volpe right now. And Anthony Volpe's a Gold Glove winner 2 years ago. So to say he's the equal and he's 19 years old, that's pretty darn good. Now, he's not taking Anthony Volpe's job. He might end up at third base maybe sometime next year. So the people I spoke to, I said, is there any chance, because the Yankees usually don't do stuff like this, is there any chance that he can make the team at 19? Because they need a third baseman, right? And the answer was not likely. He's not going to start the year with the team. In all likelihood, he will not be called up at any point this year. But he is so good, and he's on the come, that he could actually show up in 2026. Don't know if he'd start the year with them, but he could show up sometime during 2026 as a 20-year-old. That's how good he is. That's how good he is. So everybody getting excited about George Lombard Jr. The people I spoke to said, get excited. He's the real deal. So then I started to sniff around, speaking about young players, because we've been getting a lot of phone calls of late. You know, the Yankees, why don't they use Spencer Jones? And I keep saying he's not ready. Now, I haven't been down there. I've watched the games on TV that Yes has. But I want to see, because his numbers are really good in spring training. Has he closed up the hole in a swing? Because if you look at his numbers in the minors last year, wow, a lot of swing and miss ability in there. Almost half the at-bats he struck out. And one scout told me, no, he's still the same. He still has holes to close up. He is probably not a viable option for the Yankees in 2025. He's got a world of physical talent. He's got speed. He could play center field with anybody. He could steal 40 bases if he could get on enough. Now, he's got power when he runs into the ball, but he doesn't run into the ball enough. So probably not an option for this year. All right? So that's Spencer Jones, and we'll see if he's an option ever. If he's an option ever. We're not quite sure. So the one question I've had throughout the spring, and I've articulated on the show a lot, I don't get the Yankees playing Jason Dominguez in left field. I don't get it. Why wouldn't you have him be comfortable and have him play center field, where he's played center field for most of his minor league career? So when I made these phone calls yesterday, I said, I got to find out, because Boone's not explaining it to me. He keeps saying, I don't want to mess around when we play Trent Grisham. And, okay, that doesn't sound to me copacetic, But that's the public stance that he's taken, which doesn't make any sense because I think it's so important for this guy to be the real deal offensively for the Yankees that you want to make him comfortable. Well, I spoke to somebody who actually covered him in the minor leagues. I told you I made a lot of phone calls. And the answer shocked me. And he said to me, "Are you an idiot?" That was to me. And I mean, I've been asked that a lot in my life. And I said, what do you mean, am I an idiot? He can't play center either. What? Yeah, he's not a good center fielder. So what you see in left, it's the same thing you're going to see in center. So the Yankees obviously have to make a decision. What's more important for them? To have a plus defender in center or a plus defender in left? And they're choosing center, who's covering both of the gaps. Now, at Yankee Stadium, the left fielder is a little bit more important than at, let's say, Fenway or Minute Maid Park or whatever the case may be where they have short left fields. But they'd much rather have a big-time center fielder like a Grisham or a Bellinger who's really good out there than they would putting the kid. He's just not a good outfielder right now. And so I asked this person who's seen him in the minors, I said, if he's such a good player offensively, why is he so bad defensively? And the answer was, he's been hurt so much in his 6 years in the minor league system. He's constantly hurt. He has not gotten the reps. This doesn't mean he's going to be a bad outfielder his entire life. But right now, he's not a good outfielder. He's not a good outfielder in left, and he would not be a good outfielder in center. Doesn't matter that he's played more games in center. So when they talk about, well, there's a long runway here, they could change, then I don't think they're going to change. He's going to play left field. He's going to play left field because they don't want a negative defender in center. They don't. So that was illuminating for me. That was pretty interesting. Now, in terms of who's going to be the DH, a lot of people have been impressed so far this year, or spring training, with Ben Rice. He's stronger. They like his swing. They've always liked his patience at the plate. So in all likelihood, starting the season, Ben Rice is going to be your DH, at least against righties. Against lefties, they've got decisions to make. Maybe they have Trent Grisham play center field and move Bellinger over to right and have Judge be the DH. And the people I also spoke to, some within the Yankee organization, they don't think that Stanton is a complete bust all year. They think that he could be back. They think it's going to be a couple of months, and then he's going to be a player for them. So that's why they're not going out and making that seminal deal to bring in a DH type of player like a J.D. Martinez, because they think that Stanton's going to be back. And they're just taking it on the slow roll. They're just taking it on the slow roll. But Ben Rice is going to be on this team, in all likelihood, as the left-handed DH coming out of spring training. Good reports from these scouts on Goldschmidt, who had a home run yesterday in Clearwater. He looks really good. People are raving about how Volpe looks offensively and the way Wells looks offensively. And they expect big things out of them offensively this year, which the Yankees need. Because one thing you look at with this Yankee team, let's be honest, they don't have any depth. So there's not much after this. And especially the injury to Stanton, it hurts. It hurts. Pitching looks good. Fried's good. Rodon looks good. Garrett Cole looks sharp. They think Clark Schmidt's going to be ready for his first start, despite the cranky back that kept him out for a little bit. And there's no guarantee, by the way, just because of the injury to Heel, that Marcus Stroman is definitely going to be the fifth starter. So he's still still a trade possibility for the Yankees to get rid of some of that salary. Still a trade possibility. Now you look at it this way. If he's traded, though, then who's your fifth starter? Because Heel's out at least 3 months. At least. Best case scenario, he gets back in July. Best case. If there's nothing else wrong. If it's just the lat, then it's going to be a 3-month situation. If it's more than the lat, then it's going to be all year. But they're leaning toward it just being the lat. They like Will Warren a lot. Despite struggling last year in the big leagues, they like Will Warren. They like what they see. They also like Carlos Carrasco. They think that those guys could serve for half a season as the fifth starter. So is it going to be Stroman? I guess it would be Stroman if they can't move him. But because of the injury to Hill, that does not preclude them from moving Stroman to get out from under that money. And every scout that I spoke to that's followed the Yankees spring training, they have one thing that they need. One thing that is a glaring hole on the team. They need a right-handed bat in a big way, especially with the loss of Stanton. Without Stanton, they are so lefty-laden because you look at Dominguez as a switch hitter, he's better left-handed. You look at Oswaldo Cabrera as a switch hitter, he's better left-handed. Wells is a left-hander. Rice is left-handed. Bellinger's left-handed. They need a righty bat. Are they going to get it? Don't know. Would that righty bat be Nolan Arenado? Don't know. I mean, if the Cardinals would take Marcus Stroman, I think that a deal is there. I've been saying this all spring. Don't know if the Cardinals want to blink. Don't know if the Yankees want to blink. But that's what we're hearing. The bullpen looks good as well. That's the lay of the land on the Yankees right now. 1-800-919-3776. We're going to cover the Mets like a glove as well with John Heyman. He's going to be on at 1:30. So let's get at the phones. Let's make you the co-host right now. 1-800-919-3776. And we'll start off with Caesar in Huntington. Caesar, talk to us.
Hey, Michael, thank you so much. You're starting off with me. That's great.
You got it.
I want to talk about, absolutely. I want to talk about the fact that I'm a personal trainer, so the 2 tennis elbows are not going to keep you out for an entire year. So they're going to hurt. But, and if you do get surgically repaired, you're not going to stay out for the entire year. It's not an injury that keeps you out for the entire year.
No, I've heard that too. And Caesar, one other thing, he had it all last year and he played through extraordinary pain. So it's not like his pain threshold is not high. He's got a high pain threshold. But remember, he's had 2 shots, PRP injections in his elbow while he was up in New York for personal reasons. I don't know what the personal reasons are. I tried a lot of phone calls yesterday. I couldn't get anybody to tell me what the personal reasons are. I hope everything's okay. But he's not going to be able to do anything until those injections start to take effect. So I'm not quite sure when he's going to get back. The best case scenario I'm hearing, 2 months. They don't think it's a season-long thing like Caesar said. And I don't think that surgery's on the board right now. He should have had surgery in the winter if it was on the board. But he's going to play through this problem. And you can't say, well, he's not going to be good because he's playing through this. He had the problem last year. He had a great postseason. Let's go to Moose in Jamaica. Moose.
What's going on, Michael? How are you?
Good. How you doing, Moose?
Good. Can't complain. Chilling. So, maybe you can figure this out if you haven't heard any rumblings with the whole first Kyle Tucker being a free agent coming up in 2026. Vladimir Guerrero being a free agent in 2026. Spencer Jones, his plan is to probably come up in 2026, along with Everson Pereira and Jason Dominguez already being there. Also, Cody Bellinger being in a prove-it contract year, and he's slated to have probably a revival with the Yankees. Do you know what the plan is for the Yankees when it comes to their outfield after this season, with all those things I said considered?
Well, I mean, they hope that their outfield is going to be Dominguez in left and Judge in center, and we'll see if Bellinger declares free agency because he has an opt-out after this year. So they'll have to pivot and bring somebody else in if need be. I just, the way I'm reading it right now, it doesn't look like it's Spencer Jones, unless Spencer Jones has this big turnaround. He's had a really good spring training. If you said to me, Michael, what's your best guess with Spencer Jones? I bet you he's included in a deal somewhere. I mean, the Yankees hope that he improves to the point that he's their outfielder. He could be their center fielder. Right now, if you ask Brian Cashman and his staff, I don't think they envision Spencer Jones as the center fielder in 2026. Let's go to Matthew in Connecticut. Matthew.
Hey, Michael, how are you?
Good. How you doing, Matthew?
Good. I just wanted to ask you, do you remember our talk back in January when I told you, when I said LeMahieu was broken down, you said they own $30 million? It doesn't seem to be working out too well. And then I also brought up Judge's post-game interviews. Mm-hmm. And then you said even after he hit a 62 home runs, he wouldn't show much frustration. And you said Derek Jeter was the same way. Then I looked it up, and it said Jeter was really mad after his 2004 ALCS interview, and he almost walked off the set. To me, it just seems like these guys, all they really care about is getting their tummies rubbed, and they only care about the money.
Well, but so Matthew, you're telling me that Judge doesn't care that he struggles in the postseason. I mean, really, what are you working off of? What's your template? That he's not exploding in front of you? How do you know if he didn't break something in the clubhouse?
Well, does he have a good batting average in the postseason?
But you're saying he doesn't, and he doesn't care, and I'm saying that's absolute nonsense. Where do you get that from?
I could tell just by his interviews.
Goodbye. You're being Matthew. You're being so silly. So you don't like Aaron Judge, right? Am I right? You don't like Aaron Judge.
Are you sure?
Just answer me. You don't like Aaron Judge, right?
I love Judge. I wish he could perform better, but he doesn't.
Perform better where? They don't get to the postseason because he doesn't 58 home runs last year.
Okay, but who cares about that in the postseason? It doesn't mean anything.
But who cares? So do you care if they make the postseason, Matthew?
I would love them to make the postseason, but
okay. They don't if he doesn't hit 58 home runs and have one of the best seasons that a right-hander has ever had, okay? If he doesn't do that, they don't get to the postseason. They won the East by 3 games over the Orioles. So you're just dismissing the 58 home runs, the OPS over 1, the MVP, the unanimous MVP. That is so moronic. You research that. You tell me when Jeter ever showed disgust publicly and losses made him sick, as I'm sure losses make Aaron Judge sick. Everybody out there, it seems like, they want a pound of flesh in person so they could see somebody just furious about losing. Times they are a-changing, baby. That's not the way players are anymore. But under what set of circumstances do you believe that Aaron Judge doesn't care that he struggles in the postseason? It's moronic that you would think that, Matthew. Absolutely mind-bogglingly dumb. And next time you call up, and you're always welcome to call up, don't rehash something that you told me in January. Get into it now. You didn't prove anything. You didn't prove anything to me where you gave me the resume of what you said in January. Who the hell cares what you said in January? Just get to what you're saying here in March. I don't need your backstory. You seem like you proved something that you researched that Jeter almost... They lost the most disgusting series of all time against the Red Sox. Anybody, even today's athletes, would be sick to their stomach. They'll never get out from under that. Of all the great things that those teams did, and the core 4 did, they also had the worst collapse in baseball history against their arch rival. Of course he was upset. But you want Aaron Judge to bleed for you on camera. And you know, in your little bunker in Connecticut, you know for a fact that he doesn't care about losing in the postseason. Where do you get this? What kind of fan are you? That you impart your thought process on somebody else that he doesn't care. I bet you he had many sleepless nights during the winter about dropping that ball in the 5th inning in Game 5. I'm sure he'll think about that for the rest of his days. He also had some pretty good moments in the postseason. I don't have to keep saying it, because if you keep forgetting it, then you want to forget it. The home run against Clase was a humongous home run. He had a home run in Game 5. He had a double in Game 5. He had 2 walks in Game 5. The sainted Shohei Ohtani. Do you know that Aaron Judge's numbers were better than his? They were better than his. So as bad as you think Aaron Judge was, he had an OPS in the high 800s or 900. But all you want to do is concentrate on the fact that, according, in comparison to the regular season, he struggled. People are born haters. That's it. There are some people that just have that in their DNA. Matthew, I'm sorry, baby. You're one of them. You're one of them. Jeter cares. Judge didn't. Nonsense. Nonsense. Everybody in that Yankee team cared. Anytime you're on a losing team, you care. No matter whether you show it to the camera or not. Why should you show it to the camera and give the Dodgers the satisfaction of knowing how upset you are. They were upset. They kept the locker room closed for a long time. People, man, come back. Come back to reality, dudes. He doesn't care. You've dreamed this up in your little mind. Oh, Aaron Judge doesn't care. Who cares about the regular season? I do. You know what? Because the regular season gets you into the postseason. And you're the one, Matthew, your head would explode if they didn't get into the postseason, and then you'd blame it on Judge, too. You act like his 58 home runs last year didn't have anything to do with them getting to the postseason. Lunacy. Lunacy. Absolute lunacy.